So today we are going to be removing the carb off the Xpro 150 Dlx and changing the jet sizes on it. We're going to go up one size on the main jet because it's not getting enough fuel for the altitude. So let's start that.
So if you don't mind, I'm gonna make a couple shorts with while you were going along. Just ignore me. I'm just gonna catch you or tag you and all the ones I post up.
So to do this, we're going to need, looks like we're gonna need a screwdriver, a flathead. Start by taking off the rubber boot here that's attached to the head. Okay. Make sure your fuel is shut off when you do this, otherwise when you pull the hoses, all the fuel is going to leak out. So here we're going to wiggle it. Pop it right off like that. Now for the fun part, we gotta take all the hoses off. Bottom hose. This is the overflow hose. Slowly pull this sucker down out of the way. Okay, and then after we've got this out of the way, we don't even need to disconnect this yet. First, you're gonna want to take your throttle cable out. And that is going to be either a 3 or a 4 millimeter. Okay, this one looks like a 3 millimeter, which I don't seem to have here. Let's see if it doesn't fit. I'm gonna have to go find it. Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can find the 3 millimeter. Three. 2.52 maybe? There's no way it's 2. What? Is that the wrong wrench?
It might be SAE if it's not metric.
Or that's the wrong wrench. Chances that. Or I lost it. Alright, let's check this out. Oh, it's in the wrong size. There's a chance of that too. There it is. It is a 3 millimeter. It's just in the wrong thing. 3 millimeter. We're going to take off both of these Allen screws. We're going to hold the top down or else it's going to want to fly out because it's spring loaded. Don't need that anymore. Screw 1. Screw 2. And when you take this out, the slide is going to come out with it, as you can see here. This is what goes up and down and controls your throttle response. This is the needle. We'll get into that after, because I'm going to do that as well. Okay. I'm going to take this off for now. So here's the fun part. So after you turn your fuel off, there's still going to be a little bit of fuel left in the carburetor. So what you're going to want to do is probably catch it on something, but I'm just going to take it off. You might need to use a flathead to take the hose off, depending on how tight your hose is. That's what I'm going to do. Another thing is if you tilt the carburetor while you do this, you're gonna run off fuel from the bottom, as you can see here. So try not to do that, but if you have a catch can, it doesn't matter. Okay. That's down. Let me take a look at this. So now you can see we have the carburetor off, disconnected from the throttle. This is what the inside of the carburetor looks like on the inside where the slide goes in. So from here, we're going to reject the carb. I'm going to show you how that works. We're going to want to flip the carb over. As you can see, there's 2 screws right here. They're both going to be, let me check the size, make sure. Should be, yes, they're both 3, same as the other ones. And this is for a Kian Striker carb. This is a copy of a Striker carb, so it's almost the same thing, just Chinese. Not the stock carb that came with this. Okay. So our bowl is going to want to overflow. So what I like to do is turn it over the way it would sit on the bike and take the screws out like that. And then you can just set your bowl to the side. Even though I already spilled all the gas out of it. But you don't want to hold it because it'll come flying off. Okay, see, the screws are out. This will drop right out. Unless it's a little tight on there. Oh, you got to take off the injector. It slides right off. So you can see there's gas still in there. That's the gas that sits in your carb to keep it running so it doesn't run out of gas while you're hitting the throttle. Uh-oh. What just fell out of here? Is that the,
Might be the needle for...
No, it's the float ball holder.
You want me to look back or you got it?
I got it.
Alright.
So the float ball holder came out. I don't know why that's so loose in there like that. There we go. Put that back in there. One thing about these Chinese carbs is parts are a little finicky, so if something comes out, make sure you remember where you had it. So that's what it looks like. This right here is this? Yeah, that's your main jet. That's what controls 3/4 to full throttle mainly. In here, as you can see it down here, the one on the inside, that is the pilot jet. That's controlling your idle to quarter throttle. And then the needle that I showed you before, that's still on here, I'll show you. This needle is going to control the mid-range. So if the needle's too lean, you're going to get bad throttle response, and if it's too rich, you're going to end up bogging. So if you're bogging in the middle range, that might be why it might be your needle. Okay, let's start with this, with the jet. First, we're going to need to figure out what size wrench we need for this. I'll put this down. Okay. Okay, so for the main, it's a 6mm for this particular carb. But the other thing with these is, that came right out. Sometimes the whole thing comes right out with it, and then you got to screw them back in separately. You'll need a 13 and a 6 and an 8 for that. Okay, let's see what we got in here. Okay, so right now I have a size 108 for my main jet, and with the 108 in, I'm getting a red hot exhaust, which usually means we're running lean. I mean, it could mean you're rich, but usually if it's rich, it's a really blue flame. But I'm getting an orange flame, which means probably lean, and the bike's getting hot. Which, on an air-cooled bike, you're going to want to jet it correctly, or sometimes even rich, because they get really hot, because it's just air cooling it. So the gas helps to cool it off as well. And always run good oil on these air-cooled bikes. So we're going to go check this bag, see what we got. I have a 108 in here. I have a bunch of jets in here. I have another needle in here. I switched it to the stainless steel needle. Here, this is a good example to show you. Here, let me get this. Show you what the needle looks like, because it's the same thing except for mine's stainless steel and this is brass. Okay. So here, you can see that on the needle there's grooves. Mine is up to the middle position. This is going to control your mid-range throttle response. So right in between that, in between the pilot jet and the main jet, this is where your throttle response comes from. Right now it's on the middle screw or the middle slot. I'm going to try to move it down one position to the second to the second to the bottom. And what that's going to do is richen up my mix and give it more fuel while it's in the mid-range throttle position. So first things first, let's change this jet out to a 110 is what I'm going to try for now. If that doesn't work, I'll go up one more to a 12. A million jets in here. Alright. There we go. Bag of jets. These are the jets you need for this kind of carb. Let's see what we got here. 105, 115, need a 110. 110. We have another 110 in here. This looks like a kind of ghetto version of a 110. I think this is the stock one. I think we only got one. It stinks. Oh, no. We have an actual brand name one. Okay, so it seems like I have two 110 jets in here, and I'll show you the difference right here. So this 110, the 110 that I'm holding up on the left-hand side right here, this 110 is came with the Chinese carb, and sometimes an issue with that arises from that. You can see that they're a little bit different color. And sometimes the issue with that is that they're not drilled out exactly to spec. So what I did is I ordered a kit with the brand name jets, and they look a little different. The metal's better quality, and you can guarantee that you'll have the right size jet that way. Always get the brand name jets, even with the Chinese carbs. So let's get this sucker popped right in here. This is the new main jet. Always hand tighten it first because this brass isn't the strongest and likes to strip. Hand tighten. Take this, put it right on there. Make sure it's nice and snug, not too hard. Snug. Perfect. Jet's in there. 110 from a 108. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take the float bowl, which still has gas in it, so remember to always put it back on the right way, which is going to be this way, I believe. Might be a little bit of a pain in the butt at first to get it in because you're holding it upside down, but it takes a couple of seconds. Gotta align it perfectly. Might be this way. Which way it is? I believe it's this way. I can't see. Alright. Kind of a pain in the butt because the float bowl is sitting right where the thing goes in. I forgot these carbs are a pain in the butt. Alright, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna empty the gas out, probably right into my gas tank, and I'll flip it over so I can do it the right way because you have to align everything perfectly on these and it doesn't like to do it upside down. Usually this is what I do. Like some people will just dump their gas and waste it, but I just like to put it back in the gas tank because why not? Okay, so now I'll flip it over and now we can see easier which way this goes on. Try both ways. This has to go this way, I believe. Yeah, it has to go this way. Dude, what a pain in the butt. I can't see where it goes on. Unless it's because I moved the Oh, there we go. Has to be on just perfectly. Another reason that it has to be in perfectly is if it's not in perfectly, and you can see a gap still in here, so I might have to screw with it, but it'll leak gas if it's not closed, sealed properly. So always make sure that's the case when you do this. No, I want to make sure it's sitting in there, right? There we go. Sometimes you gotta wiggle it. Still might have to because it's not sitting in properly here. There you go. Yep. There's a couple spots it needs to sit in. Sometimes you just wiggle it till you hear it like make a little click noise and you'll know it's good. So what we're gonna do is get these just seated on each side, and then we're gonna torque them down like from side to side so that it seats properly. The thing about the Chinese carbs is that the metal is not made the best, so you want to make sure that you evenly distribute pressure on the bolts so you don't break it. And you get these nice and snug because these are what keep the gas in. Okay, I got one snug. Let's snug this sucker out. Boom. That's it. We got the back on. And now what I want to do is I want to fix the needle jet so that the needle jet is properly. I want to drop it down one because it's still bogging a little bit. Let's see if that fixes anything. So this is more of an intricate thing here. So what you're gonna want to do is push this up. You see the screw? You can see in there. There's a little thing where it connects. Pull that right up, like that. Pulls out. Just make sure that when you do it, the cable pops up and out. That's all you need to do. Oh, there it goes. Sometimes that'll happen too, but that's alright. This will go right back in like this. I'll show you that on the way. The opposite way. So here we go. This is the needle. Like I showed you the other one. This one's in the same position right in the middle. I'm going to want to move this tab down one slot. And what that'll do is it'll give me a little bit more gas in that range. This part is kind of a pain in the butt because these clips like to fly everywhere. So you're going to want to put it down on the surface and push down so it lands on the surface you're working on. Just going to be a pain in the butt. Get a good position.
So you try spinning it off?
With the needle? Nah, it's in a slot. So it needs to, like, you need to take it out. These things are a pain in the butt. Doing them the right way. Oh, there we go. Clips off. Little tiny black clip you see right there. And that is what goes on the needle to keep the position. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to put it down to the second to bottom slot, which is going to richen up my mixture. Careful when doing this as well. Is that in there all the way? No. I forgot how much of a pain in the butt clips are. So it's on the second rung, but it doesn't want to go in all the way, which is kind of a pain in the butt. There we go. Felt it clip on there. Still feels like it's not on 100%, but that's the Chinese carbs for you. If you buy an authentic carb, you're never gonna have to worry about that issue. There you go, I popped it right in. It's because the clip is a little bit finicky because it's made out of cheap metal, but second to the bottom, And we're gonna put it right back in here like this. There's a little hole you see in there, that's where that clip's gonna sit. Right back in the hole. And then we have this right here. So what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna slide our cable right back in, back up. We're gonna take our little spring that flew off earlier and put it back in between the cable. This might take a minute because you don't want to catch the cable on the bottom. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is, this is the fun part of all this, as I like to say. You are going to want to compress the spring with your finger and hold this at the same time, which is fun stuff, because you got to get it in here, down to there. So I don't want to compress this all the way. Sometimes, I mean, I have my thing set all the way, my cable compressed all the, or out all the way already on this bike, because there we go. I have it all the way out on this bike because I want like a good throttle response, and you can just loosen it up top and then it'll make the cable longer and easier to do that. But there you go. You have it like that, and you can see that's your throttle. So from here, we're gonna take the carburetor, and everything's gonna go right back in. So you can see the round side, on the round side of this, slip that sucker right back in there. Make sure the needle goes in. There you go, just like that. There we go. Cap's on. Now we just need to screw it back on and we're good to go. Hopefully this is all I needed to do, and I don't need to do any more jetting, but you never know. Sometimes you gotta do this a few times to get the results you want. Good way of knowing your condition is after changing the carb settings, ride for like probably like 20-30 miles, get the bike up to temperature, rev it out, like beat it a little bit, come back and check your plug and see what the plug looks like, and then you'll know if you're lean or you're rich. Lean's gonna be a really white color. You want to look for the brown, light tan brown color. That would be the condition of a good mix. Get this sucker on here. Put the fuel line back on the side. Put this hose back onto here. This is an injector hose. This is mainly for a 2-stroke, but you can actually use them with 4 strokes if you just barely open it. You have to mess with your mix a lot to get that to work properly, and you'll be running either lean or rich, but you'll get a shot of fuel in your top end if you do it properly. Okay, we're gonna need this, our little connector, and I'm gonna finagle this thing back in here because I did this the easy way and didn't take everything apart, just pulled the whole thing off. And we're gonna put this back onto the manifold like so. Make sure our tab is all the way over here, our strap tab. And from here we're going to tighten the sucker down, make sure it's nice and even on there. This is what holds the carburetor to the head, to the manifold. Make sure this is on there even. There we go. You want to give this a nice tightening. Make sure there's no leaks between the carb and the head. because then you'll probably get some lean issues. Okay. Almost there. Couple more. Nice and tight. Now the carb's back on there. She doesn't wiggle at all. And she should be fine being a little bit to the side. That's another thing to make sure of that I didn't make sure of before I did this. So make sure your carb is even when you do this, because you don't want it to be overflowing by leaking from the side like that. Sometimes it'll run out the hose like that. There you go. Perfectly even. Tighten her back up. Nice and tight. She's not going anywhere. Take this drain hose back here that I plugged over here. Plug it right back in. That's that. So now the carb's back on. Now what we're going to want to do is make sure everything still starts and runs fine. Before I do that, what I like to do is this we see here is the it's called a fuel mixture screw, or sorry, air mixture screw. You have a fuel mixture screw if it's on this side, on the side closer to the head. If it's closer to the intake, you'll have an air mixture screw. And the difference is the fuel mixture screw increases and decreases how much fuel you're letting in. The air mixture screw increases how much air you let in. So the farther out you go on the air mixture, you're letting more air in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start by screwing the air screw all the way in, because we've changed the jet size. Okay, all the way in, we have the one right here. So what we do here, just to start tuning everything and getting everything to a position where you can go from, is we're going to want to take this and turn it one. That's one turn. 2 turns, and what I like to do is do 2.25. They say 2.5. You want to start turning out 2.5 on the screw. And that's where you go from there to know if you want to upjet or not. Because if you have to go out more than that, then that means you have to either go up or down a jet. In this case, since it's air, if it has to be turned out more than that, that means that I have to go up a jet. So right now we're going to see, before I had it out like, I think it was like 2.5. So that was almost perfect with 108, which was kind of confusing. So I'm going to try a 110 and see, just because of the temperature and stuff, because we've been getting crazy weather over here. One day it'll be 30, another day it'll be like 62 degrees out. So maybe that's throwing it off. You never know, because that's like a huge change. So let's see what happens now. Everything's all set up. You always want to make sure everything's all set up good. Nothing's hanging. And now let's try to start this bike up and see. Oh, another thing about it is if you do drain the float bowl when you go to start it back up, don't be worried if it takes a minute, because you have to run carb back, or run fuel back through your carburetor. It just doesn't have any fuel in it yet. As you see, it starts right up. It's still cold, so. Oh, see that? Might be just because the bike's cold, but. Looks like our batteries are in here. Hold on. Let me pull it out and start it and choke and see. hear how it's getting weak and it sounds like it's gonna die. That way, the reason that it died out there is because I turned it in all the way, which is taking away all the air, and it's just getting fuel. So we know now that that original 2.25 out, it was running pretty well. So we go from there. Now we know that we don't need to add more fuel. If we go back and add fuel, we're gonna shut the bike off because it's getting too much fuel, not enough air. So I'm gonna go back, and what I'm gonna do is gonna go back that 1, 2, and I'm gonna go 2.5 this time, and we're gonna try it, see how it sounds. Every time you do this, you might need to mess with the idle screw a little bit because it's very sensitive to adjustments, especially on these cars. Okay, so right now we're at 2.5 out. I'm going to keep it right there and we're going to see what it sounds like. Even though the bike's not fully warm, so I would suggest before even really messing with all this stuff to really warm the bike up first to operating temperature. But I'm going to better. I might need to mess with my idle adjustment. See, the reason it turned off there, the bike's not fully at operating temperature. I might be out of gas, dude. I might legitimately be out of gas here. What?
Do you see fuel in your lines?
No, I still have gas. What did I do here?
Let's see where this dude went to. He does some pretty funny, cool stuff. Let's see if I can capture him.
response. Sometimes you do end up getting choppiness at all. I would turn it in a little, see how it acts on the mixture screw, and back and forth until you get a perfect response. I think my bike might be out of gas here because I have no reserve on this bike, so. Yep. I have to cut this out.
Oh, you're leaking, bro. Bro, you're leaking back there.
Huh?
You're leaking back there.
Out of what?
I think your fuel might have just leaked down your...
So my overflow.
Yeah.
So.
That's fine though. That's probably when you do wheelies it happens.
That's my guess. I might be shutting off because of wheelies. I'll find out right now, bro. Yep. Lame. So you don't like wheelies? Trying to think what the solution to that would be. Maybe plugging the line?
Leaking fuel?
No. Look at the exhaust.
What do you mean?
Just look at the rear. Look through the rear of the exhaust.
The rear exhaust.
Shit's fucking on fire.
I don't see what you mean. What are you talking about?
You don't see in there? You gotta look at it from the right angle. It's red hot, dude.
Oh, it just might be the exhaust itself, to be honest. You could probably, if you're able to open it, you could probably remove the baffle, and that will probably help out with the flow. dude's a pro at doing wheelies. He does it like it's nothing.
I'm not getting it. What's going on? That breakup.
Hey, you got a couple messages from somebody.
Screws turning. Screws turning on its own.
Oh, it's melting your plastic. You need a heat shield. That would
It's melting the freaking glue on the exhaust, bro.
So
Why the hell is it doing that?
not the greatest product. I wouldn't touch it, to be honest. Don't want you burning yourself. Say the best thing to do is just swap out the exhaust.
Probably, yeah. It just started doing that. It didn't do that before.
Maybe because it's running a little better now. Might be it. Do you want to continue?
This is going to be for another episode.